Yes, Mr. President. I want to say energy is the infrastructure that makes our country run and drives our national security. The Biden administration grew my department, the Department of Energy, by 20%, and expenditure much more than that, all in an effort to reduce the production of energy in the United States and to make energy more expensive. We are stewards of the American taxpayer dollars, right? That's the job of everyone around this table, led by you. We want to reverse that trajectory and care about every dollar an American taxpayer gives us, and are we using it for the benefit of Americans? Let me tell you one thing, huge growth in expenditures, huge growth in employee count. Puerto Rico, an American territory, had its electricity grid destroyed. They had billions of dollars in the Department of Energy to help Puerto Rico, yet they didn't spend that money because that money would have meant more energy, more jobs, more prosperity in Puerto Rico. They wanted to have them as a poster child of wind and solar. This island should run on wind and solar. That just doesn't work. But they cared about politics more than the American people, and they didn't treat the dollars like they were their dollars. Yep. This table, the team you have assembled, we're treating the American dollars like they're our dollars.
Thank you. You're doing a great job on energy, by the way. We have things happening with energy that will knock your socks off. A really amazing job. Howard, do you want to say a couple of words?
Well, what is so exciting is April 2nd is just around the corner, and that's American Liberation Day. That's the day when the rest of the world starts to treat America with respect. And your leadership, understanding how the rest of the world treats us and what balance and what fair trade finally is going to take care of America. It's going to launch the External Revenue Service to start to build the power and prestige of America back. And I'm honored to be helping you on that course.
What do you think about this America Liberation Day thing that they're talking about? Who said that? Chris? I can't read the first part of your name, so I'm going to call you Chris, if that's okay with you. Followed great videos, by the way. Thank you, man. What do you think about this Canada Liberation Day? Or, sorry, America Liberation Day? Because it's kind of, the reason I slip and say Canada, it's kind of going to be liberation, and I know this sounds weird, liberation from Canada, because they've been butting heads. Trump is making it clear that he doesn't need anything from that country at all. You know, there's not many other countries that needs to be made clear to, because the Trudeau/Carney, and that is, I'm not calling him a name, his name's literally Mark Carney, the new guy. They're kind of acting like they're so necessary to the American economy. And they're not just acting like it by what they're saying, they're acting like it by what they're doing. And they're kind of just being a little bit like Zelensky was. You know, acting like they have, in Trump's words, acting like they have the cards, but they don't really have the cards that they think they have. So it's very interesting. I can't wait to see this liberation. I want to see all I'm thinking is, what is this going to do to the Canadian dollar? Canadian dollar is already like 63 cents compared to an American dollar. If it knocks it down to like 40, you might want to buy a house in Canada, even if you don't want to go there. Get a little Airbnb going. BC. Why not? Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think about that whole American Liberation Day. Or is it just another thing where they're kind of just pumping it up, and it's just going to be one of those days that you don't feel an immediate impact with, and maybe further down the line you notice, wow, that was actually a tremendous day. I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting term, right? The External Revenue Service. We're going to take in a lot of money from the outside, and that's going to keep our taxes low, and I think getting a lot lower. It's going to be a lot of money, and the external will take care of the internal to a large extent. So I think it's going to be a beautiful transformation. Linda, you might say a couple of words. You've done so amazing. It's a 50% cut, and more importantly, we want to bring education into the states. We're at the bottom of the pack, but we're the most expensive per pupil. And we want to bring education back to the states where they can teach the students lovingly with their parents and with the boards and everything else. And they'll be every bit as good as these other countries. These individual states will do a phenomenal job. You want to say something?
Yes, sir. And if we think about education, if we don't address the issues in education now and start getting our scores up, What are we going to find our next generation after that? Where are our engineers, our doctors, our lawyers, our scientists, our AI and technical experts going to come from? We will go farther and farther down, and with everything else we're doing within our country, building manufacturing, bringing all of that back, if we don't educate in the best way we can, we will be lost, and those generations will be lost. It is, I think, the cornerstone of our culture and what we need to focus on. And so by having education at the best place where it can be, which is at the states, the local levels, with governors, with best practices and tools, which I hope the Department of Education can help supply for them, we'll do it.
And Linda,
It'll be idiocracy. That's what it'll become. You know, where will they come from? They might stop coming, right? There's been a brain drain in Canada, brain drain in Europe, brain drain in India as well. That might stop if well, first off, the American people actually want that to stop. You don't want the H-1B1s of just all these people. You want to focus on your own people. That makes 100% sense. But yeah, it'll turn into idiocracy if they don't turn it around. I'm still not clear on why it's better that it goes through the states' education. Maybe it's because they're already giving federal funding to the states, right? Maybe that's why. And then they just have to bump it up a bit and make sure it goes to education. And then you have a direct governor who's on the hook instead of these people who are in these departments, and you have no idea what their agenda is, and you have no idea what they're pushing, and they feel like they don't have to answer to anybody, kind of like USAID. Maybe that's the reason that it's much better. You can actually point at a governor and say, your scores are at this point, you need to get them higher, and then they actually need to take action. Whereas when you point at that department, there isn't, like, you know, I don't know. But all I know is they were getting $268 billion in 2024. And the numbers of people that can read and do basic math are terrible. Where's the money? That's too much money. They gotta start giving these departments like weekly money, and then you have to say what you did with the money every week. I know that's hard, but that's what needs to happen. You just dropping $268 billion on a department, they don't know what to do. They're just like, let's go. We'll figure all this out. Let's go for sushi first. Yeah, all 600 of you. Come on, let's go. We're all going to sushi. You kidding me? You gotta stop that.
as you know, the SBA has taken over her student loans, which is a lot of loans. It's a big job. And Kelly, we appreciate that. You're going to do fantastically well. And Bobby is going to be taking over their various medical aspects and health aspects of the educational process. So, and he's going to do a fantastic job of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just say that I'm very grateful to you and very grateful for the partnership with Doge, with Elon. We've identified extraordinary waste in my department and HHS. The expenditures, the budget of HHS during the Biden administration went up by 38%. The employees went up by 17%, and healthcare went down. We have 40 comms departments. We have 40 procurement departments. We have 40 IT departments, and we have 40 procurement, HR, none of them talking to each other. We are, with Elon's help, eliminating the redundancies. We are streamlining our department. We're going to go back to providing gold standard science. We're going to get the money to the scientists and to the patients rather than to the administrators and to the bureaucrats. And we're going to restore gold standard science, and we're going to make America healthy again.
Thank you very much. It's great.
Remember everybody who said, would you say don't call me a Democrat? Yeah, no, of course not. Remember everybody who said that RFK was not qualified for that position. Remember that as you see him going forward, because his department isn't as flashy and you don't hear much about it. He's not like Kash Patel or Pam Bondi in the list and this and that. He doesn't have all that going on, but he's actually making great strides. You know, I got actually a thread where he's talking about everything he's done. I might look at that at some point. I was going to do it later on in the stream, but there's a lot of things that he has going on that he's doing step by step. So just remember those people who said he's not qualified, because those people are clear liars as he's handling business flawlessly right now.
Great. If you might, Madam Secretary, say a little bit about what's happening and how well we've done at the border.
Sir, this last week I was in Arizona, California, Alaska, and Florida. And
Smoke show. Let's keep going. Smoke show.
CBP literally has almost 100% operational control of the border, which means that our country is secure and that we know who's coming into this country and that they love our country and they want to help keep it great into the future. We are, in the month of March, the last couple of weeks, increased our deportations by 50%. So we're now not even just getting the worst of the worst out. We're making sure that there's consequences for being here and committing crimes in our communities. And the numbers are continuing to escalate and to go up. Sir, this week I'm headed down to El Salvador. I'll be in the prison where we sent TDA members. I'll be meeting with the president and also Colombia and Mexico and talking about building these relationships so that we can continue to get people out of this country that don't belong here and take them home. And also you had talked to me about sending the message worldwide about the fact that people shouldn't be coming to this country and they shouldn't be coming here illegally. So we are in several other countries around the world with a message right now that's saying, if you are thinking about coming to America illegally and coming here, don't do it. You are not welcome. We have a legal process to becoming a United States citizen, and there are consequences if you come here illegally, and America has changed because we're putting Americans first. So we've also, the Coast Guard has done phenomenal work. I don't know if you all have reported on it, but we have broken historic records in the amount of drug interdictions that they have brought in. We've repositioned the fleet to go after the fentanyl crisis and to go after the southern border and securing it, and they've done amazing work as far as that. We were down in Florida. They brought in $500 million worth of cocaine that they had done in 14 interdictions and had brought them in, going right directly after the cartels and doing great work there. And we have a cutter that we have sped up the process, sir, the icebreaker. That'll be hitting the waters here this summer, and we've got 2 more that will be coming. But you know, Russia is using their cutters and icebreakers up in the Arctic to do surveillance on us, and we're going to reposition our fleet to continue to partner. I want to thank the Secretary of Defense and the Navy for all of their help and partnership too. We do operations together because their obvious Navy warships are in certain regions, but our cutters are faster and can work together in a partnership that's securing America. So. And we're going to eliminate FEMA. So we've got a lot to do, but it's all good, and we're working hard, and we're going to make sure that we're continuing to do exactly what you promised.
That's great. Great job.
Man, you know, a lot of people, she released a book, and a lot of people were, because there's a part in the book where she's talking about shooting a dog, basically. She had to put down a dog, right? The dog was getting violent. It was coming after people. It was not a good boy, you know? And people saw that part in the book where she had to put down that dog. And she's a country girl, so she didn't bring it to no vet. She brought it out back. And she did what she had to. She did the old Yeller thing. She did. And everybody was like, oh, her career in politics is so in jeopardy. And, oh, how could you do that? Oh. And Trump was like, Yep, that's the one. Trump was like, let's go. She did what? Took it out back. A young dog? Wow. He was put her in charge of Homeland Security. I got a lot of plans for all these illegal immigrants. I need someone next to Tom that's going to be cold-hearted about this whole thing. So she's the one. Get her in here. Career in politics over. You're crazy. Smoke show off. Respectfully. Smoke show.
Yesterday there was a plaza that you know well. There'd be hundreds of thousands of people standing at that plaza, pouring into our country, totally unchecked. Many people from jails and prisons and mental institutions and gang members, and horrible. And they just pour into our country. Yesterday, I was speaking to somebody, I was checking on the border, And they said there was literally nobody in this massive plaza. You know, we're talking a plaza that would hold hundreds of thousands of people. There was literally nobody there. There was one person sweeping it, but there were no people. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing transformation very quickly. And we're getting the bad ones out first, and we're taking them out. And there's some really bad ones, murderers of more than one people. At least 50% murdered more than one person. This is the people that we're letting in through their open border policy. It was terrible, but I want to just congratulate you and Tom Holman on the job you've done.
Boston this weekend, hundreds of dangerous criminals were removed, 4 killers taken out of the country just by what they did in Boston this last few days.
Yeah. And these are killers that there's no reasoning. It's not like, oh, let's talk them out of it. These are stone cold killers. They don't care. They don't even think about it. They kill somebody. They go to sleep. They wake up. They don't even remember they killed them. These are bad people that should have never been allowed into our country. Pam is doing such a fantastic job. I thought maybe you could say a few words.
Thank you, President. As far as the
Can you imagine he was just like, I mean, these guys, I mean, they're almost like Christie over here, where they don't even care. They just take you to the back of the house like you're a puppy, and the next thing you know, you're gone. That's exactly what Christie did. And some of these guys, they're just like her, but with people. And it's terrible to see, you know. I'm just saying, you know, I respect what you did, but a lot of these guys are just like that. They just, with people, bring them around back and say goodbye. And then they just wake up like nothing happened. Like Christie here. That's exactly what she did. Can you imagine? I wish he did say that.
You're hearing a lot about fraud, waste, and abuse. A lot of waste and abuse, but there is a tremendous amount of fraud. And Elon, thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your team. You have uncovered so much fraud in our government, and we will prosecute you. We have an internal task force now working with every agency sitting here at this table. And if you've committed fraud, we're coming after you. Thank you, Elon, for that. On the violent crime level, thanks to President Trump's directive, we are seeking the death penalty again. So all of these horrible, violent criminals that you're hearing about around the country, they will face the death penalty federally within our country. And the drug dealers need to get out of here because we are coming after you. We're going to have 94 great U.S. attorneys around this country, and everyone will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Thank you.
I gotta say, you know, I like those words, but she's never really that intimidating, you know. She's like, and just you guys who are doing all of this dealing and whatnot, you guys better go ahead and stop it because we're coming and we're really upset here, okay? And I'm just saying we're upset, something fierce, okay? I'm sorry to use profane language, but we are fierce here, okay? Really angry, and you better stop it. We're serious, okay? Every single time.
Thank you, President. It's at your directive.
I couldn't have said that better. That's very good. That's very good. She's doing a fantastic job. Thanks, Pam. Do you have any questions, please?
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
Still so much fraud, still no arrest. Yeah, man, that's the thing. There's still been no arrests made. And apparently there's just a tremendous amount. So what's going on? You know, it would be very disappointing if nothing happened to anybody, especially with how much they've talked about this fraud happening. You know, I've been talking about it. Like the accounts, there's accounts. Who's making these fake people? Where's the money going? What's happening? Is it citizens? Is it employees? What's going on? There should be something done. You would think every time they found something that they would then go on a course of action of finding the person and then showing you, hey, we got this person. There we go. This person's going to jail for X amount of years because of what they did. They've been stealing this amount of money for this long, and, you know, they can't even pay it back. That's how much it is, so they're going to jail. You would think that would be the thing, right? Elon Musk just weeks ago was talking about auditing politicians and trying to understand where they're getting all their money from. So I don't know. I hear exactly what you're saying. Still no arrest. There needs to be some kind of arrest. But anyway, now the questions are actually starting. Let's hear what they got to say.
Mr. President, what can states do now to implement your Department of Education executive order?
Well, I think what's going to happen is we are cleaning out a lot of things like the loans, student loans, which will be handled very professionally by people that do that. And then, as you know, RFK Jr. is going to do a fantastic job having to do with health and the other things, and frankly, better than the people at the Department of Education. You see the buildings all over D.C. And then the rest is the states are going to start coming in and taking all of the information on all of their students. And I think a lot of that information is going to be shipped to different states like Iowa, like Indiana, like so many. They're so anxious to get, they're calling us, and they're so anxious to get it. We'll be shipping the records of the children that they're taking care of, that they want to take care of, and the process will begin. And I think it won't be that long before the states will be really running the Department of Education. Our teachers are going to be taken very well care of. And I said, personally, I don't care union, non-union, it doesn't matter. Teachers are so important to this country and to me. And we're going to take great care of our teachers. And I know it's very important to Linda. So I think you're going to see a tremendous change very quickly having to do with education. And the process has already begun, very strongly begun. I think we've done, in whatever it is, 8 weeks, people are amazed at how much we've done in terms of the safety of the country. In fact, I would like to ask maybe Marco to say a few words on what's happening with respect to, in particular, Russia, Ukraine, where we have some pretty good news. I think we want to get it stopped. We're losing 2,500 young people, and these are Russian and Ukrainian people largely. And they're not American people, but on a human basis, we want to get it stopped, and we want to stop spending billions and billions of dollars to a country that we think it's time, and we're doing pretty well. Marco, do you want to say something?
Yeah, Mr. President, first of all, I think the American people should be proud that we have a president that's promoting peace and the end of conflict on this planet. This is a war that's gone on for 3 years, as you pointed out, that, as you've rightly pointed out, would have never happened had you been president, but now it's here, and it needs to be brought to an end. There is no military solution to this war. It has to end through negotiation. And there's only one leader in the world that's capable of bringing the two sides to a table, and that's our president, the President of the United States, President Trump. And that's what he's done. And so today, even as we speak, we have teams on the ground in Saudi Arabia meeting with the respective sides in the hopes of making progress towards this outcome that we all want to see. And I think that the country owes you a great debt of gratitude, and the world, really, because, I mean, you're the only leader in the planet that can bring the two sides together to bring an end to this conflict, and that's what you've done, and you've done it despite, impediments from other countries and others who maybe have different opinions about how this should go. But ultimately, I think that the only chance we have for peace is through the president's leadership, and you've shown that, and we hope it'll bear fruit, and today will hopefully be one step more in that direction.
Thank you, Marco. And on the Middle East, another hot spot that we didn't have a problem with. There was no problem in the Middle East when we left, and now there's a lot of problems in the Middle East, but we're working on that. But I think we've seen significant progress, and I think we're going to start, we were talking with the Vice President a little while ago, and you're going to see countries start to fill up the Abraham Accords. More and more countries want to join. That was a great success, tremendous success, and then Biden and his group did zero with it. That should have been filled up within a year of the election, would have been filled up. So countries are starting to want to get involved very much with the Abraham Accords again, so that'll be great. JD, do you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're talking about them not stopping Israel. The thing about it, yeah, I mean, that whole talk, Trump had Bibi over in the White House. They didn't really, the only real stopping conversation that they had was Trump indirectly talking about Bibi when he was addressing just taking Gaza. He was just like, we're just going to take it. We're just going to take it. And he's like, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to buy. We're just going to take it. Maybe some people want to step in. The Palestinians will go somewhere. That talk, as much as people think like, oh, he's like bowing down to Bibi or something, but Bibi probably, like I talked about this before, Bibi probably doesn't like that. He's probably like, what? He's like, I thought I would, if anyone's going to take it, He's like, you're gonna, huh? What? So there is no talk about that in terms of them stopping. It was just that one indirect talk where you could see Bibi got real uncomfortable, Trump seemed real nonchalant, and then they never really touched it again. And all that talk since has stopped. So I don't get that whole thing. This is where a lot of people want to be non-interventionists, and then a lot of people want the exact opposite, and they want to have full involvement in that whole thing. I always bring up, and it gets annoying for people, I always bring up Kensington, Philadelphia. What about that place? What about Chirac and there being like 100 homicides in one weekend? What about those places? And it's just interesting that there seems to be some kind of trick played where Americans are focused on the rest of the world, and there's some kind of guilt trip that's placed on them when they start to focus on themselves. And it's like they have to be focused on Ukraine. They have to be focused on Russia. They have to be focused on Israel. They have to be focused on Palestine. Yeah, I would get it if it was China and they're making military moves towards America. It's like, yeah, you can kind of focus on that. Warships, Russian warships near Cuba, that you got to focus on. But when there's two sides and they're just going at each other, I get if America itself wants to get involved, but the fact that the people have to focus on these places, I find so odd. Just knowing what I know is going on, For the longest time, until people weren't even focused on the border. They're focused on Ukraine's border more than America's border. They don't even know about the northern border. The fact that 350 people on the terrorist watch list tried to come through in 2024. What? And that was the real reason why Trump was focusing on them strengthening their border, because they have people on the terrorist watch list that are trying to come through all the time. And for some reason, people will know more about that conflict than they know about that conflict. Find it interesting. I don't know, man. But yeah, he's not going to tell them to stop. That's not going to happen. As far as I can see, I've never heard anybody tell them to stop in terms of a president. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I also, at the same time, as I say that, I do feel like Trump has it somewhat under control. Somewhat. Little bit. I don't know.
Yes, sir. Just on that topic, if you think about what happened with the Abraham Accords, one of the great diplomatic breakthroughs under the first Trump administration, really in the last 30 or 40 years of American history in the Middle East, and the Biden administration did absolutely nothing with it. Built on it, not at all, added 0 additional countries. Purely out of political spite, the Biden administration, I think, hurt the United States and really hurt the project of world peace. That has changed. Luckily, about 2 months ago, we got a new president. And that president has given us the task of building out the Abraham Accords, adding new countries to it. And really what you see is a lot of these countries that have historical, ethnic, or religious hatreds want to build. They want to build new artificial intelligence. They want to build new real estate projects. They want their citizens to become rich and prosperous and peaceful. And they're setting to the side some of those old hatreds under the leadership of President Trump. So it's early, but we made a lot of progress, and we'll keep on making progress, sir.
Thank you, JD. One of the things that's very important, I think, to mention, I saw a show yesterday, and they had a Democrat congressman on. It was on Fox. And he said, well, President Trump said prices would be coming down, and instead he's focused on other things. Well, we all
Okay, so he's moving on from the subject. But yeah, fix at home first. Nobody's messing with the U.S. Yeah, he kind of has control for now until he doesn't. Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. It seems like he kind of has a control on the situation. It's definitely become apparent from the Biden administration to Trump coming in that there is somewhat of the real teacher's here now. The substitute teacher is gone. I kind of have to, whereas before I didn't have to do anything. I had my feet on the desk. Now I actually have to meet up. I have to talk. I have to play the game, and I can't just do whatever I want to do. That's kind of the vibe I get right now. But again, like you said, it's control until he doesn't. But I don't know what people think, because any nation that wants allyship with the United States of America, that then decides to turn and say, I'm not going to listen to you, with Trump as president, you're going to have a big issue. You're going to have a big issue. And it may not be a tax, but it might be tariffs. It might be sanctions. Like, Trump is willing to do some stuff to people who don't listen to him. You know, that's why I say it seems like he has control enough right now. But at the same time, are they going to break ceasefires? I think in that whole region, Middle East, Israel, Palestine, I think they're both going to break ceasefires. That seems to be what they do. It seems like they both end up breaking ceasefires. You've seen, as much as people want to deny it, Palestinians have broken ceasefires, and it's gone the other way as well. You can't deny it. It happens. But I don't know what's going to happen with all that. I would really love to know what's going to happen at the end of that. What is the end game there? I don't know. I don't get it. You know? I really don't get it. But yeah, like you said, fix at home first. That should be the main thing everybody's focused on. Fixing at home first. Kensington, Philadelphia is a war zone. And there's no bullets. There's no artillery. It's just needles. It's crazy. The things I've watched in regards to like tranq and what that does to people. People are losing limbs over that stuff. They're literally coming out of that place like war vets with a leg missing and an arm missing and crazy sores, and they'll never be the same. They're traumatized. And it's like, man, and all they have is a couple of ministries and Christians just trying to help out here and there. It's like, where is the billions of dollars thrown towards that? Why hasn't anybody snuck $10 billion over to that place? They're sneaking it everywhere else, like NGO here, NGO there. Why aren't they sneaking it over to Kensington and helping those people? I don't get it. It's odd. And that'll always be something I'm sad about, because, you know, people will be like, oh, Thomas Massey, he's America first, and this person, America first. I haven't heard anybody talk about Kensington, Philadelphia. And that place is a war zone, straight up. Make friends, not enemies. You'll get a lot farther. Yeah. That seems to be Trump's that's what he's into, right? Even when he was going at Zelensky in the Oval Office there, or maybe it wasn't the Oval Office, but when they had that whole press conference, he wasn't exactly being disrespectful. It was like he was trying to talk to a drunk friend who was like, you can't win this fight. And he's like, of course I can win. You win any fight. What are you talking about? I fight. I'll do it with my hands. I'll do it. And he's like, no, you don't have the cards to do this. I'm not playing cards. It's like, it's a metaphor, man. Just please, can you just let me handle this for you? They have been fighting for generations. Yeah, been generations, man. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you can look throughout history what it's been like. It'll probably just be more of that. And that was Trump's main thing when he was talking about the whole thing. He was just like, this just keeps happening. That was the indirect shots he was throwing at Bibi. He's like, innocent people just keep dying and dying. And he's like, and it just keeps happening. And it was like an indirect shot at Bibi. Bibi's kind of sitting there like, you talking about me, bro? Yeah, I'm right. You know I can hear you, right? What? Who you talking about? Trump's like, I don't know. I'm just saying, it's been like so long. It just keeps happening. You know, they rebuild, they destroy. He's like, Bibi's like, hold on. Who are you talking about? You talk about me destroy? Hey, we're 12 feet from each other, bro. I can hear you. You have a microphone. Trump's like, I'm just going to take Gaza. I'm going to take it. It was very interesting. I'd love to see them in a room again to hear what they have going on with that whole thing. They need to stop. Zelensky needs. They need to stop giving weapons. Yeah, man. No more. I think Ukraine's done for weapons. I think they're done. That's it. I don't think they're getting any more. The next transaction between the United States and Ukraine is Ukraine giving minerals. You know, they're in debt. All they're doing is giving minerals. That's it.
Focused on a lot of other things.